Perkins, your host. Thanks for joining me this morning. Today, I'm going to answer the question, are electric vehicles really as clean as they seem? Years of persuasive advertising has led us to believe that buying electric vehicles is good for the environment. And this Nissan Leaf commercial is a prime example of that.
The 100% electric Nissan Leaf. Innovation for the planet. Innovation for all.
Now, I have nothing against electric vehicles, and I think they're the future of transportation. But here's why if you buy one now, you're not helping the environment as much as you think. Yes, electric cars are more energy efficient, but where does that energy actually come from? Now, unfortunately, all this energy doesn't come from the colors of the wind or the power of nature or butterflies. Unless you have a windmill or solar panels in your backyard, an electric car gets its energy from the same place as everything else. From a power plant, most likely burning coal or natural gas. In fact, in 2013, coal and oil alone generated 81.4% of the world's electricity. In which case, driving an electric car can actually put more CO2 into the atmosphere than driving something like a hybrid. More than 99.4% of the US population relies on the US power grid to fulfill their electrical needs. Charging electric cars actually puts strain on the power grid, the only difference being the pollution is created at your nearest power plant instead of the tailpipe of your car. For example, even the Toyota Prius hybrid, which uses a combustion engine with an electric motor, emits 200 grams of greenhouse gases per mile, whereas in Minnesota, an electric car would emit an equivalent of 300 grams per mile. However, that number changes based on what each state uses as power sources. In fact, a study done by Environmental Science and Technology found that if 1/3 of all Americans switched to electric cars, the carbon emission savings would be barely noticeable. If the US were able to switch to 100% renewable energy sources, then electric cars would make sense. But due to things such as political factors and lack of investment, 100% sustainable energy is still a long way off. Another issue is that your average electric car consumes more energy to build than a normal one. As it turns out, every electric car has batteries and a motor. And both the battery as well as the motor in any electric car require rare earth metals to be produced. Here are a few examples. Rare earth metals aren't actually rare, but refining them often involves dangerous and destructive mining techniques. This is especially true for places such as China, where they have less strict environmental protections. So if you're trying to save the planet, buying an electric car might not be your best bet. The real problem is Americans bought 17.5 trillion cars last year and drove a total of 2.7 million miles. That's a lot. Instead, just hang on to your car as long as you can before buying a new one. Or you could just walk.